What's up, beautiful PewTubers? Today we are talking about a brand new optic, Lead & Steel's Pandora PB-3. Same footprint as the Acro P2, but is it as good? I think it's a little bit better, and we'll talk about why next. Before we get into the Pandora, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I appreciate all your love and support. We also have a website set up with affiliate links. You can click, and when you check out, we get a small percentage of what you pay to help the channel. If you have the means and are feeling grand, our Cash App is also located on our info page. Now let's get on to this chunky optic, baby. We are currently living in the golden age of not just firearms, but gear and accessories as well. We as consumers have been longing for a more competitive scene rather than just a few manufacturers who continue with their stagnant designs for decades, charging an exorbitant amount of cash for the same thing year after year. Well, not any longer thanks to a growing number of companies. The problem now is sifting through which optics are quality and which optics are better suited for airsoft setups. Lead & Steel has been around for a while now, selling parts and firearms, including a very intriguing carbine that is on my short list for next year. But it wasn't until earlier this year that they jumped into the optic scene. Starting off with their duty-grade rifle optic, the Promethean LP-1, Lead & Steel has shined in quality, craftsmanship, and price. I love my LP-1, so when they announced the Pandora, I knew I was going to grab one. Fast forward to just a couple weeks ago, and there she was at my front door. Now, I've only spent a couple weeks with this optic, but I've already fallen for this beauty. With a little over 1,000 rounds through her, it's still way too early to tell the whole story. But I still wanted to get into why I fell so easily for this dot. Before the optic came, I visited Rooftop Defense to grab an FCD Acro P2 MOS plate from my Gen 5 Glock 34. Highly recommended, as I'm a bit of a cuck for FCD and Rooftop Defense as well. The plate fit perfectly to the Glock, and when the optic came in, she went on with 25 inch-pounds of torque and hasn't loosened even a bit. I've racked this optic off of 2x4s, metal plates, trees, shoes, really anything I could think of, and she's remained zeroed and true. The optic itself stood out when I first unboxed it because it's massive. I had no doubt that this would never fit my Safariland 6354 RDSO holster, made for a Delta Point Pro. Surprisingly, it does. In fact, it's a millimeter shorter than the Acro P2 with a 30% larger window. Now, sometimes percentages can be misleading, but the difference between the Acro and the Pandora window is relatively astonishing. While the P2 has a 15 by 15 millimeter aperture, or a little over a ½ inch from corner to corner of the rear window, the PB-3 comes in at a whopping 22 by 17 millimeters. Now this is where I will attempt to stop comparing the two dots and focus just on the Pandora. The PB-3 was designed not to be a revolutionary enclosed emitter, but to build upon already proven approaches. The MPS and P2 are incredible themselves, but Lead & Steel attempted to take it up a notch. They used sealing plates to sandwich each of the Japanese glass lenses and then purge the insides, fill it with nitrogen, and seal it for fog resistance. The internals take a note from typical red dots and the MPS by placing the emitter architecture on top of the housing, allowing for windage and elevation dials to act directly on the emitter. This single feature alone allows them to maximize their ability to use as much of the window as possible instead of using an erector tube such as the P2. The housing is made of 7075 T6 aluminum with serrations at the top and protect their lenses with a standoff around the objective lens and an ocular offset. The battery compartment has a beveled edge and sports a single CR2032 battery. This aids in a longer battery life than the MPS. With 3 night vision settings and 7 daylight settings, the battery life varies tremendously depending on what setting you keep it on. On the brightest of days, I've typically set the dot between 4 and 7. This gives me a comfortable 120,000 to 14,000 hours of battery life if kept on constantly. Seeing as this is my competition or duty pistol for myself, I typically turn it off between uses. This brings to light the lack of a shake awake feature. It's definitely not a deal breaker for me to not have a shake awake feature, but may be a minor inconvenience to some. The brightness controls reside on the top of the housing and are recessed to make sure any accidental changes do not occur. They also offer a lifetime warranty for the original purchaser, and at the price of $399, you get into the same category as a Holosun 509T and the EPS MRS models. Now that the objective variables are out of the way, let's get subjective, baby. The overall look and feel of the Pandora is incredible. She's a thick girl. The FDE is beautifully done with a Type 3 hard coat anodized finish. This adds to abrasion and chemical resistance by hardening the aluminum with a 0.003 inch layer of hard anodized aluminum oxide to the surface.
Day 2 with
I
the
did
Pandora,
encounter
baby.
some minor scratching of the battery cap when I attempted to open the battery compartment with a spent 5.56 round. Not even racking the slide with a steel plate made the markings to the front or side of the housing that I did with a piece of brass to a thin battery housing. Zeroing the optic was a matter of only a couple of clicks from both windage and elevation. I used Loctite with the plate but not the optic, and everything has remained true. The first range trip I took the Pandora to, I ran through 400 rounds a lot quicker than I wanted to. In 2 weeks, I had well over 1,000 rounds, both indoors and outdoors. It was too much fun to put down. Friends gawked at the large window, and everyone who has shot with this optic has nothing but great things to say. I have yet to really find anything I do not like about this optic, even when comparing it to the P2 and MPS. Yes, I hate that this optic is not made in America, but you will be hard-pressed to really find much of anything truly made 100% here in America. Do I think that's right? Hell no. But that goes without saying, I can't overlook a great thing, and the Pandora PB-3 is a great optic. Lead and Steel is a company hell-bent on placing a great product in the hands of their consumers and continuously evolving their product to meet the needs of the end user. Their future is exceptionally bright, with nylon and weapon-mounted lights hopefully coming next year, along with a rumored LCAN competitor. Also theorized in the varying future is an RMR competitor, LPVOs, and a micro magnifier. I say keep them coming and I'll keep buying them. Nothing wrong with some healthy competition, especially when the product is as stout as the ones from Lead and Steel. Thank you guys for watching. I will continue to keep you updated as I continue to use the PB-3 well into next year. As usual, please hit those like and subscribe buttons, and God bless everyone during this holiday season. We love what we do here on YouTube and are only able to do it a lot more because of you guys. My website will be pinned in the comments and the About Me portion of my channel. We have numerous affiliates along with Super Chat and Cash App. Hope you guys have a great holiday season. Stay safe, touch grass, and remember, learn, train, and evolve. God bless and protect the Second Amendment, baby.